The most popular team right now here in Dallas, given the events of yesterday. But this is a team where they enjoy the crowd energy, whether it be boos directed at them or not.
I mean, these players have been doubted for a long time. They've been doubted their whole career, but now they're getting a chance to shine in the spotlight, and shining like stars they certainly are. So, I mean, I think this is far from a lockdown game for the Titans. These Valiant players, they've been so scrappy, so aggressive. I can't wait to see the action.
It's going to be exciting, and it could be something that really sets the tone for the rest of the season, where people now, they kind of wonder, where do you place the Valiant because of how good they looked yesterday? And if they can put up a strong showing against the Titans, even if they lose, it says a lot.
Definitely. I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the day. I'm certainly expecting it to be close. Both teams, heavy hitters on both sides, lots of rolls as well.
Well, of course, the opposition, they are ready. Let's hear it for the Vancouver Titans.
Vancouver, a team that just had so much success before, and you know, we've said it before, we'll say it again. You bring a player like Fisher onto that lineup. Some people have called him volatile. You know, he's been moving around from team to team, but it feels like he's never been a weakness for the teams that have him. You know, it's one thing to leave teams, but it's another to have other teams constantly wanting to pick you up, bring them into that squad. So, you know, on a team like this that could really let Fisher take over, be that leader that he's known to be, I mean, this could be a real moment for Fisher to find some solidity and maybe some full competitive success.
I think one of the scariest things for the league as a whole is the idea that Fisher, a player that many people see as just an incredibly mechanically dominating player, for him to be able to come in and gel with this Titans roster, a roster that many people thought may have been held back by their main tank at points, that is just terrifying to the rest of the league.
Definitely a lot of things to be excited about if you're a fan of the Vancouver Titans, not the least of which is Haksal. I mean, we saw the Genji show come out, especially on Hanamura, but this is a player who's shown that he's more versatile than just his best hero, having so much success across the board, really basically taking a permanent starter spot for the Titans. He's a young player, and I think he's really one of those fraggers that you just think can take over any game no matter what hero he's on.
And Haksal, one of the few players that looked good in the damage role, really regardless of what was being played all throughout last season. A lot of versatility, enduring through the 3-3 meta, moving forward to the stage 4, and being a big reason why the Titans, though famed for their 3-3 ability, were still able to be the runner-up of the Overwatch League last season.
And, you know, for an expansion team to make it that far in the season, very, very impressive stuff. Also featuring two of our role stars here today in Dallas. So this is a, you know, powerful distinction to be getting in the Overwatch League. Not many players are recognized as such.
And of course, they're going up against quite a bit of star power on the Shock side at the same time, where the Shock, they are stacked, and it's for good reason. When people looked at the Shock, people were wondering, are they going to be as good this year? And there's no reason to think otherwise.
Yeah, I can't wait for our next match as well. So many role stars here in Dallas. We've got a great roster of games today, but can't be more excited. I mean, I guess the question for the Valiant is, you know, can some of these players be the future role stars? Can they be trying to earn that distinction for themselves? And I know for certain that these players are hungry. They want that.
I think players like KSP certainly are making a case for it. Lastro, a player that many slept on, suddenly looking very good yesterday. And for the Valiant, gotta give it up for packing 10, building a really good roster at first glance.
The coaching staff is what is constantly referenced when we talk about the Los Angeles Valiant, and for good reason. I mean, these were a lot of players that, you know, other teams didn't see the value and didn't see the potential in, but I mean, it seems like packing 10 has been validated. I mean, after a great result against the Fuel, the question is, can they keep that running? Was this just a lucky start? I think the Valiant have a little bit more to offer, but we'll see if they can handle the Titans.
Well, now we'll see what battlefields we're going to be on here. The map list coming right up. And of course, maps do play a big role in Overwatch as to how the teams decide to go about things. And especially in this meta, where a map can really result in a completely different set of heroes for a team.
As well, I love to see McGravy constantly talking right now. It's so important that everyone on the team be on the same page, be ready for that first team fight. Sometimes that first moment, crossing mid on control, you know, that can decide an entire match. You know, every map counts. And even though yesterday the team that won control ended up losing, that doesn't mean you don't want to take that win, especially if we go into those overtime maps, pushing the set further and further. It's all control at that point. So dominating that first map makes a big difference in momentum for the rest of the series.
Lijiang Tower going to be our first map of the day here in Dallas, as the Valiant look to keep the momentum going on against the Vancouver Titans.
Both teams rolling out with a similar setup, although the Titans going to make use of the Symmetra teleporter, maybe be a little bit quicker going to the white room, but this is going to give KSP a lot of space on McCree, and we saw how dangerous he was yesterday.
So McCree on one side, a Reaper on the other. KSP has to be public enemy number one for the Titans to deal with, and already KSP under pressure. Somin2 into the back, looking for the McCree. just darting back and forth. Fissure under a lot of pressure, barely settling immortality field, but meanwhile, Rain hunts down Sumitsu, and the Valiant starting off very strong.
Gig dropping low and taken down, but definitely a great fight from the LA Valiant. I love that little play by Somitsu though, coming in on the flank on KSP, even getting a perfect dodge on the flashbang, but it's just not enough, and with KSP living the entire fight, he's just farming up to this Deadeye.
I also think, especially right now, Reaper has never necessarily been the best hero versus McCree. McCree is one of the few damage heroes that can shut a Reaper down.
Yeah, I would think of McCree kind of dominating that matchup, so it'll be up to other players, most notably Janu on this D.Va to shut down KSP, but Lastro has the nano boost, so you expect to see Gig coming in swinging here.
Lastro holding back, getting ready to throw the nano, very likely on the Gig. Wall gonna block his line of sight. Titans trying to move in using the Ant Matrix. The Valiant not too scared here just yet, but Gravy gets D-Mech, wasn't able to get away. Haxall now moving forward, but on the same note, the Valiant were able to get around. Gig with 2, and KSP the backup.
Axel still fighting on point, but Gig swinging back in from behind. What a great flank from him. He actually pinned across the gap with the nano boost, flank to the backline. That's not what you see every day from a Reinhardt, but totally paying off here for Gig. That's a great play.
This is an incredible showing for the Valiant so far. They come out this strong here on Control against a team as lauded as the Titans. And for your Titans, what do they have to do to stop KSP?
Someone needs to stop KSF this fight, though. He's got the Blizzard ready, and if Jano doesn't eat that, this could be an open and shut for the Los Angeles Valiant.
KSF holding on to Blizzard, chasing down the Titans. The Titans finding themselves thrown into the side building. KSF just biding his time, waiting. Doesn't want to throw the Blizzard into the waiting Mava D.Va. Gonna drop the wall under a lot of pressure, and the Titans, they know he's looking for the Blizzard at the same time, but here come the Valiant. They drop the beat. They force the beat out of the Titans. Both sides, back and forth. The KSF has yet to find opportunity, but doesn't need it. McGravy, the bomb in the back.
Love the patience from KSF, not rushing, but Fissure with the pin finds his counterpart. Now, KSP's high noon. They're all trying to keep him up as he battles back. Everyone's trying to dive KSP. Someone's got to stake him down, but Twilight with a triple kill here.
The Titans just out sustaining Twilight, a very big part of that, a great coalescence to keep the fight in the Titans' favor at the end. But look at the Valiant, it's 99-4. They have plenty of time, and that is a Doomfist onto the field.
Very interesting to bring out the Doomfist here, but I like this decision. You have a lot of time to get back into this fight, which means that's a lot of openings for Doomfist to find some pickups, and especially if a nano boost can come online, that can be a huge enabler. So Minsu does have that death toss, so no, KSF's gonna go back to the main. Maybe just wanted to recontest on the Doomfist, not getting there in time. But it looks like Valiant, they're able to slip across the bridge. That's a great entry into mid.
Vancouver Titans gonna let him have that one. Slime though, already striking. Just boops Lastro aside. Sumitsu moving forward, and this is an easy cleanup situation for the Titans.
Titans still going to commit that self-destruct, not feeling entirely confident in the fight after the boop on Lastro, but looking clean though as they hold on to the point. Valiant not really able to get much ult charge at all out of that one, so Titans, they've got another Coalescence, they've got the Blizzarded. Fissure with almost the Shatter ready. Valiant, they need to find some better fights than that. I mean, even if they're not winning these fights, they need to be charging their ults a little more quickly. Vancouver has a ton of control over how this next fight goes.
On the same note, you want to try and drain Mordo out of Vancouver at the same point, which wasn't really done in the last fight. Vancouver sitting pretty, they've made up a lot. They were at 0, now at 62. And Valiant, they're just taking a lot of time to move in here in this gauge. Now moving forward onto the point, Haxall holding on to Blizzard. Slime takes down Rain, and already free fight for the Titans.
Very inventive way to cross the gap there with the Maywall from KSF, boosting his team over the gap, but it's just not enough, and Slime manages to boop another support off the map. This is very dangerous now for the Los Angeles Valiant. They've got to get something going, but Vancouver's holding onto their ults so well here, just doling them out one at a time. Valiant can't find an opening.
For the Valiant, it's been a bit of a whimper the last few team fights. Vancouver, they've made it look easy. They've just got a pick off or two to start the fight, and that's been it. But now, here we go, Fissure dropping the hammer. Putting the Ryan onto the ground. Nano gonna save him now. Going the other way. Fissure under pressure. Fissure about to get folks fired down, but the Titans have made enough space. Astro Gig already out of the fight. The Titans still in a very good spot. Janu holding on to the self-destruct. KSP gone. And the Titans, easy cleanup towards the end against the Valiant.
Titans, what a great comeback this map, as they're able to take the first round of control after going down to 99%, showing that you just can't give up, and you can't underestimate this squad. I mean, once they have point control, they started playing so well, just perfectly, I would say, one ult at a time, winning fights as efficiently as possible, relying on those cooldowns instead of the ultimates. This is textbook control Overwatch, and Titans showing why they made it so far last season.
And it just wasn't even flashy towards the very end. It was just calculated. And the Valiant, after a great start, they simply could not find their footing.
Maybe just a little bit flashy by Slime, though. Those boops on supports are so crucial, and when you boop an enemy Lucio off the map, you know something went terribly wrong because you have to really send him flying to get that environmental kill.
So, taking a look at what the Valiant might have to do into the next round, what were some of the key trends you saw there as the Titans brought that back?
For me, it was all about the positional control. I mean, when Valiant did get into the fight, it was always under less than perfect circumstances. They're always pressured. You know, that was a nice play to Maywall across the gap and try and boost over, but even then, almost losing players to the boop, and by the time they made it to the fight, again, you're using your Maywall to do that, so you lose that key offensive utility. So I think for the Valiant, they need to have a little bit of a better way to put the Valiant, or put the Titans on the back foot. With that Reaper Mei, they're always going to be aggressing into your backline, always going to be charging you, and once KSP didn't have that much space to work with, it kind of felt like he fell flat. There wasn't much he could really get done.
You hit on one of the points I wanted to bring up there, which is that a key difference between the two teams, you had KSP on McCree, meanwhile you had Sumin over on the Reaper, and when you're running a Reaper composition, you tend to get more in the opposition's face, whereas McCree, as you say, wants a little bit more space. Do you think that that was the situation where maybe Valiant, as good as KSP is on the McCree, should have considered switching to something different?
Yeah, I think potentially it would have been smart to bring out a Reaper of your own. I mean, one of the key utilities that Reaper does bring on a map like Gardens, where the Maywall can cut off an entire choke, is that if you just leave your Reaper with the backline, he can always bust down that door, break through the Maywall, and save a Reinhardt or a D.Va that's potentially caught on the other side. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility and denies the enemy Mei some of that dominance that she might otherwise assert.
Now, if you're a casual fan of the game, and maybe you tuned in later yesterday and you saw KSP just going insane on Widow, why wasn't Widow necessarily a great choice there?
Well, it's just a map where the ranges are not what you're hoping for on Widow. I mean, the Reaper, the teleport, I mean, he's just going to be right behind you, and you won't really be able to see that coming. You won't really be able to prepare. So McCree offers you a better middle ground where you're still able to defend yourself from the Reaper, but you output that dangerous hit scan DPS that, you know, Widowmaker can offer, but as well, playing against a Reaper Mei, the Infrasight's really not adding so much to your team. I mean, the enemy team doesn't care if you know where they are. They're going to stay as 6 and dive you. It actually plays a lot like Goat's composition that we saw so much of last season. So, you know, that Infrasight is not adding as much as it might against a team that fields more flankers.
It's control. You know where we're at. We're at the point.
Yeah, exactly. And with Mei Reaper, it's not about subterfuge. It's not about, you know, getting some huge solo flank off. It's more about swarming with your whole team, focusing those targets down, and Fisher potentially showing some of this veteran experience as he brings his team into that sort of strategic composition that focuses on focus fire.
Now, you talked about the idea of needing more space to get value out of McCree. Now we're heading into the control center, and KSP is still on that McCree.
Yeah, once again on the McCree, so I'd expect to see the Valiant going straight out onto the point while Titans want to fight in this white room. They want to get close range. I'd expect to see Titans making a rush play very soon, but KSF starts off on Twilight. That's very early.
Very nice early pickoff from KSF to start the party here on Control Center. And now the Valiant, they can be a little bit more aggressive. And more than that, KSP has so much room to work with. The Titans, they just got to get out.
Oh, that was just beautiful from KSP. Even the enemy Ryan, while charging, boot backwards, and somehow KSP still finds the headshot at that moment. That was an incredibly impressive shot, but great opener from KSF sniping across mid.
So once again, we see the Valiant have a really good opening fight. It fell away from them the last round. Why are their opening fights doing well?
Well, it's starting with these huge pickoffs, really. It's all on the Valiant DPS, but great Maywall from Hacksaw catching the tanks, and the huge follow-up is there, though.
Bionade from Lastro makes the Titans think twice, but Thrum is Valiant down to main tank. McGravy, though, doesn't care. Gets the nano, goes to the back line, goes into the corner, and McGravy being a big threat. However, Reaper is there. Now McGravy in a little bit more danger, going to fall. The Valiant, though, still in control of the point.
Like the patience from McGravy, not committing his self-destruction position where he can't survive, so he will be back with that ultimate, and the Valiant look like they might be able to delay this for his return.
This is smart from the Valiant. They backed out. They didn't throw everything into that fight. They're keeping the idea of recontesting Sumitsu. Moving on over, going for the death boss, and completely negated by the defensive matrix. But while that was going on, Fisher and Janu got in from the side.
McGravy's able to eat most of that damage, but he's not really dealing any of his own when the Reaper's on him, so still Vancouver Titans charging in to follow that one up. Now they're in point control. The Reaper Mei is going to assert so much dominance on this recontest. It can be really difficult to get through Machoke, and this is the trouble that Valiant had last map. Oh, and another beautiful snipe from Hacksaw.
Oxel and Twilight combining for that one. KSF immediately taken down, and this reminds me of the last round where the Valiant, they start strong, and then Vancouver just kind of picks them apart before they get another really good fight.
This map will offer a little bit more ability to fight at those long ranges, but it's all in the Valiant's ability to bait Vancouver, but that's a great move. Slipping through the choke, that's the first test passed.
The Titans trying to defend the choke point. The Valiant made a little bit of an opening. McGravy gobbles it on up. That's the opening the Valiant needed. Now they drop a blizzard of their own. Moving on forward, looking for it. Slime is down, and McGravy has opened the way for the Valiant.
Such an important pickup by McGravy. Now Valiant just trying to flip this point as fast as they can. Last survivors for the Titans still fighting on. Fissure though slept by Lastro. That's a key player that won't be able to contribute much to this fight, and at this point moves quickly, but somehow Fissure finds Gig, and the nano boost onto Fissure. They're trying to commit with Slime's beat as well.
They're not just trying, they're succeeding. Sumitsu moving forward has dealt with the big threat of KSP on the other side, and the Titans, they maintain control. That's incredible.
Valiant overplaying their hand a little bit, but it's great patience by Twilight with the nano boost, able to turn that fight. Gig chases forward, but he's not expecting that full commitment, and Titans keep control of the point, cruising towards a second control map victory.
And of course, they win the round here. That is the map in their corner. The Valiant, final opportunity to turn things around here. And you gotta look towards Gig. Gig opens with the Shatter, hits two. Fissure, Shatter on the other side, does a little bit more. Knocked to the ground. The Titans still in full control. The Valiant seeing their hopes fall one by one here, and it's looking like the Titans, they got it! Map one.
Wow, absolutely bombed here on control. I mean, the first round started off so good for the Los Angeles Valiant, getting that first control, getting all the way to 99%, but Titans, blood as cold as ice there, just completely unfazed by it. And even with the second control map mid-fight going Valiant's way, Titans is always able to come back. They're always able to just out-strategize, outplay. I'm so shocked that they were able to win that team fight after losing so many players right at the start.
Well, the Titans might have gotten punched first, but they punched back a whole lot harder. We'll be back in just a few.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Twilight has one of the best Annas in the league.
Is Anna phenomenal?
Twilight impressed all year on the Zenyatta, was giving Jonak a run for his money.
Just the true definition of a support.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone, buddy! The truly bloodthirsty support here. That's 3 in a row for Twilight now. He's pretty good. Oh my lord! There's a biotic brain in this guy. What? He keeps himself alive and gets the 1-for-1. That was disgusting. Twilight, another biotic brain from Twilight. Not a time to catch some Z's at all. Cucumber slices on his eyes and all. Nice flashbang. Hit the wall, nerd. See you later. What a sleep dance! Twilight never fails to entertain.
Twilight is phenomenal, and I gotta say, that is a great video.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, playing into Twilight. I mean, a player with such swagger and confidence in himself. I love hearing that from him in the interview, just saying, we are the best team. He knows that. It's not a question of I think, maybe we could, no, we are the best team. And there's a big difference when that comes to that on stage, on server.
And we saw a little bit of that in the last map, where you looked at how the Titans were just able to take fights directly against the Valiant. You're not able to really rush that team with that sort of confidence without a really good backline.
Definitely, and Twilight, a player who can play every flex support in the pool, and probably most of the main supports too, so that's exactly what you're hoping for in a player that you can leave in most of the time. And now with Jaehong standing behind him, you really have that flexibility to bring in more on the roster, and especially add more depth when it comes to behind the scenes in the practice. You can keep developing Twilight into that superstar, becoming a veteran, much like Jaehong.
Well, we do have a substitution here. We have Stitch coming in for Suman 2, and you've known the Titans for quite a while here. Why would you bring in Stitch in this situation?
They're players with similar hero pools, and both obviously extremely confident, having a lot of success in the Overwatch League. But Stitch is a player, when I think Stitch, I'm thinking a little bit more in the flanking direction. I'm thinking a little bit more chaos, a little bit more solo plays. Somansu known for those classic team plays, classic synergy, but Stitch just adds a little bit more chaos. And on a map like Blizzard World, brings in the Widowmaker, brings in the McCree, brings in potentially some Tracer. We've even seen some Genji as well. So, those are the types of heroes that potentially on Blizzard World with its, significant point diversity, you want to have those flexibility picks available.
It kind of lends me to the idea that maybe this is where we'll see the Titans go with something along the lines of more double hit scan at points, which is super viable, especially now that McCree has just become the beater of worlds.
Definitely. I mean, I think certainly both players competent on a lot of heroes, but Stitch known so well for his hit scan performance in particular, and on Blizzard World, I think the Reaper loses a bit of his teeth. I mean, it's just a little bit more difficult to get into those close range situations, with the exception potentially of third point. The first 2 points of the map, which, by the way, we've seen a lot of full holds on second point of this map, so you really want to focus on getting it done there. That's where your McCrees and your Widowmakers are really going to dominate.
And you take a look at the two teams where Valiant, I feel like initiation has not always been their strong suit. Like maybe at the very beginning of the map, where they started the last map out very strong in both rounds, but then as things progress, it feels like teams do adapt to them a bit, and certainly from the Titans just a map ago, the Titans sort of downloaded them.
I mean, if anything, though, I would focus on the strategic element of their hero picks. The Titans were so quick to go to the Reaper. They want to rush. They want to play a 6, and that's a very dominant strategy on control. You can force your will, especially on a map like Lijiang Tower, where, in those close ranges, there's not much you can do to evade the Reaper. But as we go to Blizzard World, KSP on the McCree, on the Widowmaker, can stay in his comfort zone and just have a lot more success based on the map geometry.
We still got to heat things up here on the stage. We'll be back in just a few minutes. The Valiant still looking to rebound here against the Titans, but you think about the trend of yesterday, which has not carried over today if you look at New York. Maybe losing the first map, not so bad in the end, as long as you can pick yourself up and really focus on the next three.
The LA Valiant in particular looked great on this second map as we go to Blizzard World, so I couldn't be more excited to see KSP on that Widow, on that McCree, on a map that I think gives him a little bit more range to work with. It felt like, for me and the Titans, that first map, they're just so great at leveraging the Reaper, at swarming in. As soon as they have positional control of the fight, they're just dominating it. But as we go to the second map, the hybrid Blizzard World, KSP is going to have the space to get some shots off, and it's going to be up to Stitch, I think, to some extent, to duel him, shut him down. But so far, no one's really been able to stand toe-to-toe with KSP.
And part of that is that the Valiant have been very good at giving KSP room to work with. You think about the matchup they had yesterday where, yeah, there were points where KSP was up against Decay in a Widow duel, but it wasn't really a one-on-one. It was more like a 1v3, and it made things very tough for Decay. The Titans, though, very good at team play. I would be surprised if they let such a situation happen to them here.
I don't think dueling KSP is the way to stop this player. You need to activate that Diva, potentially with a Lucio, get that swarming potential on. We saw Rain and McGrady certainly know how to do that, though, as well. So the question is, what sort of composition are the Titans going to field on this offense? Haxel, considering the Genji pick, I think that could make a lot of sense here on Blizzard World. It's a map where a lot of those wide open flanks, ability for Genji to get behind and start picking up that ultimate charge very quickly. And with Stitch on the Sombra, I think that would certainly make sense to complement.
Also, you look at the Titans' composition, they're running Twilight on the Ana, which gives them the option to go for the Nano Blade a little bit later on. And again, this is going to put a lot of pressure on KSP to deliver.
Fissure considering his pick here, but with so many stuns on the side of the LA Valiant, I agree with the decision to switch up the Hammond onto the Winston. You just can't deal with the flashbang, the sleep. It's too much on top of the May freeze, that ability to just completely shut the Hammond down. So they're going to go with a more all-in dive style.
Ooh.
Great nade from Twilight.
KSP immediately getting deleted. That's what the Titans were looking for by going to this composition. Now they take the fight over to the point, applying even more pressure to the Valiant. Janu might have paid the price, but this is looking so good. Hoxel, 72%. He might fall here, but this is still a very good start for the Titans, even if they get pushed out.
The Valiant, though, they're doing a great job, I will say, of regrouping after some brutal pickups. With Haxel falling there should be an opening for the Valiant to get in and recontest if they want it, although Fissure dodging the sleep, looking to clean up this backline with a Primal Rage.
Oh, this is so much space being created. Vancouver, they're going to get point A, no problem this time around. The Valiant are in disarray, and it doesn't get any better. The Titans barely had to use anything ult-wise to get point A, and that means it's coming to bear on point B.
I can't help but feel for Lastro there, dropping the sleep, but unfortunately at the same moment, Rain booping away Fissure, and knowing Lastro, my guess is that sleep was on target.
If you're the Valiant, you just got completely rolled over there. One swap they've made here is the Reaper. Is this a good change?
I do like it because it really makes it more difficult for Haxel with his Nano Blade. He doesn't have an obvious target. Before, the McCree and the Ana would be easy to catch, but with the rush coming in for the Valiant, it'll be tougher to find.
Well, the Blade is out. Hoxel is in. Slices down Gig to start things off. Looking for someone else. Stitch on the outskirts, deals with Rain. And the Titans, again, just getting the Valiant at all places here. The Valiant weren't able to have a great counter-engage, and the Titans continue to move the payload forward.
I mean, nobody in their right mind is really expecting to win a fight against Hoxel and Twilight with the Nano Blade, so Valiant regrouping, getting a bit of ult charge flowing there. I don't think that was really so bad for them. If they can just make a good hold here at the end of second point, Titans might feel the pressure to switch off this dive comp.
They're still going to have to play around the EMP, though.
Definitely, but with the Reaper's Wraith form, he might be able to dodge it. Stitch wants to start this fight off very early, though.
EMP directly to back, the Titans diving on in. There's the bomb! Janu just adding the exclamation point at the very end, and the Valiant continue to just not get quality engagements.
Janu was such a mad bomber last season, finding so much off that ability, and this is no exception. Titans just swarming through the map, having absolutely no trouble capping second point. I love the aggression.
We're seeing excellence from the Titans right now, where you can go to Valiant and go, they're not getting good engages. On the same note, the Titans are getting phenomenal engages, and the pressure isn't stopping. They're looking, they get KSF. The staggers simply continue.
Haxel and Twilight as well, charging up that Nano Blade combo once again. There's not really an opening so far for the LA Valiant to find a foothold. They're going to have 2 more fights to try and stabilize this map, but Titans have so much time to work with.
5 minutes! That's an eternity! Especially for Point C and Blizzard World, where half the time teams can't even get through Point B.
Twilight kiting back from this beat, everyone retreating. Great sleep. but caught by the Maywall. Oh no, the beat comes in to keep him alive.
Twilight, the fancy footwork gets away. The Titans in a really good spot. They get away from the Blizzard, and here comes Haxel to blade. Down and over he goes. 2, 3. Haxel is chopping the Valiant to pieces.
This guy is just a monster on the Genji. I do not want to hear that ultimate sound when Haxel's in the server taking a seat. I think he's done enough.
Just got to rub it in a little bit for the crowd, and yeah, the crowd, they're a fan of it.
The trouble now is Stitch again has the EMP. This cycle is just going perfectly for the Titans. This is a textbook example of how to play the Sombra Genji. It's just working perfectly.
Speaking of the Sombra, EMP's up, it's ready. It's going to the back and strikes 3. We'll see the fall through there. Fisher getting awfully low. Haxel moving in, and Fisher was able to get out of dodge. Fisher still alive. Haxel trying to get away at the same time. Very low, healed up by Twilight. Nice heals to keep the Titans in the fight. Fisher, though, ends up falling during that exchange. The Valiant starting to regroup a bit, and the Titans, they're totally fine to go for a reset.
The ults finally allow Valiant to stabilize here, but what great triage from Twilight, keeping everyone up, and Valiant not getting the ultimate farm out of that fight they were hoping for. KSF still not ready on the Blizzard, and Haxel looking dangerously close to the Nano Blade.
Titans are in a really, really good spot here. The Valiant are gonna have to look to the Blizzard to set the stage. Twilight in the back, Nano ready, Nano applied. Here comes Haxel once more. Rain gone, but Haxel not over yet. 2, 3. Do we have 4? Fisher there for the assist. And the Titans, they're gonna roll this in with 3 minutes left.
3 minutes left on Blizzard World? This is just unreasonable. Haxel have some mercy, but he has none.
Woo! This has been the Titan Show here so far at the Dallas Homestand Series, presented by Frontier.
I can't help but feel like the Titans need to field some counters to this Genji. It's just so dangerous.
Twilight coming in strong here for the Titans. Look at this Bionade. Up, over, in. Goodbye, KSP.
Absolute max range, skirting the Diva Matrix. That's great performances from Twilight. What a superstar for this team. And I love that one fight when Lastra charged in with a Cole. Somehow Twilight kept everybody up. It looked like everyone was critical. This is the mark of just an insanely talented Ana player.
And you think about what that play was there. Where, okay, the Bionade was the cherry on top, but you just dealt with KSP, the player that the Valiant are relying on most in what was just a very well-executed opening dive. You want to talk about dive. Haxel has been playing out of his mind.
Just a freak of nature on the Genji, really swarming along with his whole team. Sometimes he just doesn't know when to stop, but it seems like he stops when he gets to the end of the map, when he has full control, because this guy's just unstoppable on Genji.
I'm glad you said the word control, because that's what defines the Titans to me right now. They've been in control pretty much the entire series so far, and they haven't really looked stressed at all.
Definitely not. KSP on the McCree, and this time Stitch standing toe-to-toe. It's a full mirror match here on Blizzard World. We'll see if the Valiant can sort of break this open, Someone's going to have to find an opening to pick off. Just push the Titans off this high ground, but looks like they'll retreat and take the fight on point instead.
Good old high news showdown here on Blizzard World, and the Titans, they don't even want to open up the possibility of getting overwhelmed in the beginning. They're going to retreat back to a more favorable position.
It's a full rotation from Valiant. They want to wrap around onto this high ground, take control, but Titans wants to fight them in the choke. Maywall, though, not cutting Valiant in half. They will be able to seize control of the high ground and get Stitch in the process.
KSP, a little bit of revenge to Valiant. Looking a bit stronger here. KSP with 2 already. He's down, but it's still pretty good for the Valiant. Now you look to KSF and McGravy. Going on the other side, the Titans running out of players, and this is looking like a very quick point A take.
What a beautiful rotation by the Los Angeles Valiant. Great understanding of the map geometry. If you wrap around behind on Blizzard World, you're able to take that defensive high ground, the place that Stitch wants to be playing, and unfortunately he gets caught out because the Valiant are just too quick.
So the Valiant responding in kind to the speed run the Titans just had. We'll see if they can keep it up as we move in point B, which is often a much harder test.
Lastro, though, has a significant lead on this nano boost. This Twilight doesn't have his ready in time. It's going to be tough to shut down Gig. He's been so great at utilizing a nano boost advantage.
Lastro holding in the back. Nano boost to start things off. It's on KSF. That's a Nano May moving into the Titans. Gig holding on back. KSF moving forward. Punches Fissure in the face. Ooh, 2. Don't see that very often from May.
Minor accident there coming through, but KSF makes it work. That's a mark of a great team, you know. Even when something initially doesn't go exactly how you were hoping, you can still make it work. You can still adapt, and KSF under pressure, proving that he is one of the dominant flex players this season.
Do you think they meant to nano the May, or was it supposed to go into the Rhine?
Definitely meant for the Rhine, but Lastro had to move quick with that Maywall coming down from Hacksaw.
You know, maybe they'll think, maybe we should do this more often. Kind of worked out. KSP on the high ground. Deadeye, locked and loaded. The Titans looking to rotate around. The Valiant now going to be pressuring. They open with the Deadeye.
Everyone has to hide, though.
Was looking for one there. Doesn't quite get it, but it sets up the bomb. Twilight caught by McGravy at the very end, and this is really nice momentum coming out for the Valiant.
That was just such a beautiful team fight from the LA Valiant. First, I was so focused on the high noon, but then KSF comes in from one side with the Blizzard, McGravy with the self-destruct on the other. Everyone's caught in the corner by the high noon. There's just nowhere to go for the Titans.
So the Titans, they were speed running around to go. Now the Valiant give them a taste of their own medicine, and they're not over yet. Twilight caught. The Titans getting staggered. The Valiant looking every bit as bloodthirsty as KSP gets to work.
Nice triple kill from KSP, just clean up frags, and now Titans gonna have to go back to their spawn once again. This is all just free payload push time for the LA Valiant. They're looking like they want to compete with that blistering pace Titans said in the last round.
Oh, that would be ridiculous if they finished with the time quicker than 3 minutes, because you don't see it very often at all, let alone twice in the same game.
In our last real team fight, Valiant committed so many ults, but they're already back online. Stitch with the high noon, but looks completely zoned.
The shadow comes down from Fissure, doesn't do anything. The Valiant now ready to go on their own. They drop the nano on the Gig. McGravy eats the Blizzard and finished off Voxel. A hero play from McGravy. Stitch takes out his counterpart, but the Valiants are still looking really good. They have the beat dropped on them. The Titans must give them space. They can't compete with this level of health as the Valiant just continue to swarm the payload.
Valiant looking so calm under pressure. After that insane time, you would have thought maybe they'd be doubting themselves, maybe they'd be less confident, but they just won that fight with only 2 ults. That's insane. Vancouver committing everything, and now it's only Twilight's nano boost standing in the way of Valiant's quick cap.
KSF looking for it, gonna drop the Blizzard. It moves down successfully. The Titans are forced out. Fissure can't get away. Flipped by the Deadeye. The shatter from Gig. Even bigger to the back. And McGravy drops the bomb for good measure. That is a faster time for the Valiant.
I'm not sure what we're watching here. I mean, Blizzard World's a map where you don't even expect both teams to be able to cap blast, much left with 3-minute time banks on both sides. This is essentially a full reset round. We very rarely see this on a map like Blizzard World.
That was an anime-esque just comeback we saw from the Valiant. They just unveiled their true form.
I mean, and not only do the Los Angeles Valiant get a better time, but they do so playing the classic mirror match of the meta, this McCree, May, Ryan Diva, Ana Lucio. Both teams not shying away from the mirror, but here it's Valiant coming out dominantly on top. Titans snowballed with the Sombra Genji. I mean, they played it very, very well, but that's a comp that relies on the snowball. It's desperate to snowball, desperate to cycle ults, whereas the McCree May has so much stability, you can sort of force it all day long, so Valiant might be finding a way back into this series.
Well, I think part of it might be maybe KSP is just getting warmed up, where the first round here in Blizzard World wasn't very good in the sense that KSP just got nuked immediately. It was a well-coordinated dive from the Titans, but if KSP can avoid that fate this time around, maybe we see a better defense come out from the Valiant as we move into extra rounds.
Titans looking at playing this comp again, but as part of the utility of a Sombra Genji dive, is it surprise? Is that utility if you're not expecting it? I feel that McGravy is going to be more ready for the biotic grenade this time, and if Valiant can just survive that initial dive, things can go wrong very, very quickly for the aggressors.
Valiant hoping that this defense goes a little bit better. Both teams really hoping their defenses go better given what just transpired. We'll see if it's the case.
Pretty much equal time banks here, and I like this from the Valiant, preemptively backing off. They don't want to be caught out on that high ground where they're so exposed to the dive. They're going to split up, keep map control as well. This is so important against a dive comp. You can't allow them to get us around.
KSP hanging out in the back, and this is a smart adjustment. Design holding a little bit further back. Now they're looking to punch Hawks on. They do! Gig and KSP working on that one. And the really good counter engage from the Valiant here, not really flinching as the Titans moved in.
Love that little movement from KSP. He's sitting on the high ground, but he's just baiting the dive up there and rolls off. Looks like his team pre-planned that. They were ready, controlling the location on the low ground for KSP to drop in. And after that initial dive fails, Haxel only has 22% Dragon Blade, and with 1/3 of the time bank remaining, he's going to need to pick up the pace.
Same for Stitch, where Stitch really didn't build much as a Sombra. You need, for these two heroes in particular, to build your ultimates quicker.
Definitely, although neither team really getting too much out of that fight. It's really just on the Valiant to just hold strong, but the question is, how can Titans break this hold? It looks like Valiant have great understanding of the map position here.
Fisher looking for a way in, looking to dive directly in, moves back immediately. McGravy, a little bit of extra space being made, Valiant holding back, but ooh, getting caught. Gig was going in for Slime, ends up getting punished instead. The Titans with 2, and now the Valiant in real danger. You look towards KSP, if there's anything to do, and oh, he slumped! The sleep from Twilight puts him out of his misery there. Woken back up, but that's gonna be it. Slime finishes him off, and the Titans get in on point A.
You gotta appreciate the subtle adjustment in that second fight. Instead of going for the all-in dive behind the Genji, Titans played a little bit slower there. They poke in, they trade out, and it's actually Gig who goes down first, trying to hold on to that point. So Valiant maybe underestimating the Titans' dive skills, not always targeting the same character. You have to keep things interesting, keep things evasive for the defending team, but now it's another Nano Blade up for Haxel and Twilight. Do the Valiant have any answers to this?
I don't think they have any answers. I just think the question is, can the Titans get away spending as little as possible? You don't want to spend everything here in this fight, even though you are highly favored. We'll see how it goes. Haxel moves in. They get KSP early off the EMP. Now they're going to try and save the rest.
Oh, this is so bad for the LA Valiant. Haxel holding onto the Dragon Blade. Twilight holding onto that Nano. A first clean pickoff, and only the Primal Rage and EMP needing to be coming out here for the Titans. That's massive. Although Rain, though, does have this sound barrier available to counter the Nano Blade potentially.
That was really what the Titans were looking for, Jake. They got to save so much.
They want to cap this second point, a place where many teams have fallen before, but KSF does have Blizzard, could help them on points.
Now looks at Haxel. Danu down immediately off the Deadeye. Puts the bomb. Still hit the back. 5-on-5. Here comes the outblade. Haxel frozen, stuck in the Blizzard. Is that going to be enough? It gives room to KSP, KSF. The Valiant might hold.
KSF, what an absolutely massive Blizzard, freezing everyone, including the Nano Blade. You can't ask for more than that. I thought the Blizzard would help control the point, but I didn't expect that much value. That's great timing from KSF right when the Dragon Blade comes out. Genji's not quite ready to dive, and just a little bit too slow. That's uncharacteristic from Haxel.
Really, really nice Blizzard, though. Perfectly placed, and I agree. I think Haxel could have gotten out of that, but really good read coming in from KSF.
Let's see it here. Oh, and I love this. Also targeting the Genji with that left click, freezing him as quickly as possible, burning him down with the headshots. KSF has just looked so solid on the Mei. It's a hero that it's hard to find highlight reels for, but it's all about that solidity. You want a player who's so consistent with the icicles, so consistent with the decision making, and KSF, he's talked about this in the offseason. You know, in past seasons, he's been forced to play hit scan, forced to fill for other players, but now he's back onto that flex DPS role, and he's been so dominant with these projectiles. I can't wait to see him more as the meta continues to develop.
I just imagine Packing walking into the Valiant training room, looking at KSF and saying, I love you, but you're never playing Widowmaker again. But this is a good thing.
It is. And alongside KSP, although it's a bit of a struggle for us on the casting desk, otherwise, I'm so happy to see these players together.
Also, we just got a note from our producer. The Valiant time bank, 348, the third fastest time ever on Blizzard World. Just to really hammer home what a crazy comeback this has been so far within this map.
Valiant looking to take control as well. I like the decision to run the Sombra on offense. This gives them a little bit more explosive potential. No, actually just scouting the enemy comp. Gonna go back to the Mei. Why not be confident in this mirror match? They just dominated the last round.
Valiant looking for a way in. The Titans right now hoping to have a much stronger point A defense than they did before. But if you're the Valiant, you know time is on your side here, Jake. And right now they're not being super quick, but they are applying pressure at the point. Gig, try and move over, and look at this, Fissure. Ooh, they did enough to get Gig.
That was a beautiful bio-nade by Twilight to start the engagement. Getting both tanks so important, cutting down the heals, and there's not really much Lastro can do in that situation with his teammates anti.
There was a moment there where Fissure might have gone a little bit too far forward, but now the Titans trying to stagger the Valiant again, something that's worked out well for them. Lastro got super low, was able to get away at the last moment, and now the Valiant are turning the tide. Janu falls, McGravy can still get back into his mech. This could be a 6-on-5 power play.
I definitely expect the Titans to fight this one out. Twilight setting up on point in a full commitment position, wants to find a big nade, give that nano over to Fissure.
Twilight hanging out here in the back. Deadeye out from KSP, looking for it. Fissure in danger, isolated it down, but it comes at a dear cost. KSP out of the fight. Not with the frontline advantage. Titans with the DPS advantage, and this means you look to Stitch. What is Stitch gonna do in this situation? Moving to the right, focusing on the tanks. Deadeye is up, can't get too close under heavy fire, down he goes! Hands up, finishes him off.
The blizzard though is massive.
It's a big blizzard, Hunt's on the other side. The fall through for the Titans coming on in. Respawn's about to be in at the same time, and the Titans, they're holding off the Valiant.
Hacksaw just a couple seconds faster in charging the blizzard, and it makes a world of difference, clutching that fight for his team. Valiant have had moments of greatness, but so far not translating to any point pressure at all.
Very close battle back and forth, both teams with their moments, but it's the Titans that stand strong. A minute 45 left for the Valiant to get in onto point A.
And KSF may have another blizzard, but with the nano boost and the sound barrier online for the Titans, they've got a ton of support counterplay, able to keep those tanks alive if they do get frozen. Fissure as well with the shatter could just end this fight before it begins.
Stitch hanging back, Deadeye at the ready. The Valiant still taking their time, making the most out of the minute 30 they have left. Maybe going for just one quality fight here.
Taking this rotation again, but this time the Titans are ready. All 6 players defending the high ground that the Valiant want to keep control of. KSF cut down.
Very nice split. Cuts the Valiant in half. And the Titans only having to invest the nano there. And the Valiant, this is a lot of time just thrown away as now they find themselves under a minute. Oh, KSP on the other side got 2.
Somehow keeping this fight going is KSP. Raid with another. How are the Valiant managing to bring this one back? Fissure has to shatter one, just taking down Lastro, but there should be an opportunity for a power play as the Valiant stream back in.
I think what we were just about to praise the Titans for, they were saving a lot of their ultimate power. They're like, we just only had to use his nano, and now it let the Valiant back into a fight. When the Valiant were down so much, now the respawns are back in. They've put Fissure back on the ground. The Valiant, they're moving back over, and the Titans might have let this slip away.
That was a completely ridiculous clutch coming out from KSP and Rain as well. We've seen so many frags out of him, and he brings it home when they need it most, getting that payload moving. But Valiant, they have no more mistakes left. Have to keep this payload moving. We're almost to overtime.
The good thing for the Valiant, though, they're loaded on ultimate. Stitch gets it down on KSF. That could be a rough start. The Titans moving forward. The Valiant had a lot of ults to use. Now they're just down in numbers. The Titans, they're gonna try and be aggressive. Move on to this now. Overtime in progress. Stitch working the outskirts, finds KSP. Pick from the Titans. Gig dropping the shatter, knocks Twilight to the ground, and ooh, Stitch deals with Rain, and he's still coming in off the flank. The Valiant, they're almost done.
Beautiful plays coming out from Titans, holding strong, looking to secure the map victory as they go up 2-0 in the series. It's all Titans on the payload.
Overtime ticking down, and the Titans turn it back on Blizzard World. Up now 2-0.
Insane stuff from both teams. I can't help but feel that KSF wasn't ready for that Deadeye. Didn't realize it was channeling on him, and losing your maze so early in the fight, you lose that crucial utility to be able to slow down the enemy Rhine, prevent him from swinging. And without KSF, he's been such a bright spot for this team. It all falls apart from there.
The Valiant getting challenged and more, even when they get momentum. The Titans manage to steal it away. Will anything change as we look to map 3? We'll be back very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Rank up with America's first and only nationwide 5G network.
We're 2 maps in and someone is going to end the day undefeated. Who will it be? The Valiant or the Titans? This is Game Break and it's presented by Cheesy Grooves. Interesting match so far. The Valiant started out well in both rounds on control, but once the Titans got the point, they just never let it go. Reinforce, Titans is a team you can never count out.
No, you can't really count them out at all, and I don't know why anyone would ever predict against the Vancouver Titans, really.
Yeah,
I
who
think
would doubt them?
Yeah, who would ever doubt the Vancouver Titans? I mean, you're going up against the LA Valiant, but, you know, so much for those Screambox.
Oh, no. I feel like that's illegal or something.
Luckily, those aren't real. Luckily, those aren't real.
I'm sure that's...
I don't think you can do that.
Can never count them out. That's for real though. You can never count out the Vancouver Titans because they have so much clutch potential. They have so many skilled individuals on this team. So whenever the Valiant, they got like a 2-man advantage in a fight, Vancouver Titans, they just came right back. Twilight had so many epic plays. Fisher had some flank shatters. This squad is just impeccable.
I think as well, once this team gets control, they very rarely let go of it. You saw it a lot on this control point. Valiant got the point first each time, but as soon as the Titans got it back, there was nothing coming back, and it didn't even look close to Valiant getting it back.
That's a problem. They rarely make mistakes. Their positioning, their execution on team fights, and their engagement is just so very well thought out and so precise that it is hard to get control back against the Titans. Now, Wolf, looking at what we saw from the Valiant on the map too, they played it close, and it looked like they were going for a speed run there as well. What were your thoughts in general on the performance of that team?
I mean, Valiant looked really good. There were some issues, obviously, dealing with Hoxell's Dragon Blades at times. And
every team has that issue. They're not alone in this one.
It's tough, you know. I mean, it's tough, but in general, the Vancouver Titans look really clean. They got this really fast first point take after getting that pick onto KSP, just a positional error there where he got split up with the rest of his team. But in general, you know, Valiant looked good. They had a great moment as well where they were able to punish the Titans for overextending when they used the Primal Rage and the EMP on that follow-up push. But they were never able to be consistent enough against Hoxell's Blades, and it's just dash resets like the one you just see on your screen right now that really just continue to be a plague for the LA Valiant. They're not running heroes that counter the Genji. They're not running you know, compositions that really shut him down very well, and it's just, when you're mechanically as strong as Hoxell is, it's tough to have the right answer unless you're going to try to straight up counter. If you're just trying to run what you've been running before, you're going to have some problems.
It's so hard to deal with Hoxell's Genji. I just, you play McCree, but you can't really deal with it. So it's just a huge problem. But I do want to give some props to the Valiant, because even though Vancouver Titans, they had an incredible push on offense, they still managed the LA Valiant to get their own fast time. So that just proves that there is good leadership figures within the LA Valiant, and that was pretty impressive.
And now it's time for Crunch Time, presented by Cheez-It Grooves. So, Costa, I need to know who crunched the hardest.
Okay, so this is just a sick play by Gig. Okay. I don't know if he was inting off or he actually knew this would work, but he actually pins off the edge with the nano, and he makes it across. He makes it into the enemy backline of the Titans and just starts swinging and ends up with a 4K.
What?
I don't know if that's supposed to happen.
That's so big brain.
My favorite thing is Fisher here, who turns around and he's like, what the? How did you get here? So he just starts swinging through. No one knows what's going on. Hits the pin. One more to add it up. That's crunch time. That's the definition of clutch.
I mean, I think he like went across and then he went below just next to the railing. I don't know if the railing being not broken there helped him out. It's hard to say.
Yeah, hate to see it.
No, you love to see it. You absolutely
What the enemy team does not love to see that.
I'm a Valiant fan and a main tank fan. We love to see this right now.
I love it.
Anyway, very quickly before we're heading into the second half, we have so much more time to talk, Costa. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, I just want to
Wolf, we're heading into Anubis. Any Vancouver fan should be excited now.
I mean, Vancouver have always been a great team on Temple of Anubis. It's historically been Hoxell's best map, going as far back as the Apex days.
Apex!
It's a great map for Genji, and it's a map where we're going to see more Hoxell Genji, we're going to see more dive on A, can even see defensive dive on A if that's what they want to run. Unlikely, but it's possible. And since the Valiant have struggled so much with Hoxell's Genji thus far, I'm a little bit worried about how they're going to handle him as we head into potentially Genji's best map.
At least we predicted Vancouver Titans, right? Yeah. Zoe. Yeah.
Vancouver Titans. He's so committed.
Yeah.
And so will our teams be to take that victory. Let's see who can get it done. We're heading back to Dallas for the second half of the Valiant, taking on the Titans right after this short break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
Welcome back to Dallas. Things are still heating up as we continue on day 2 for the homestand. Of course, the fans waiting for the fuel to make their approach once more. But in the meantime, it's been Valiant versus the Titans, and the Valiant almost making a big comeback in Blizzard World, but falling a bit short.
This has definitely been a knockdown dragout. I feel like even though the scoreline is 0-2 in favor of the Titans, it's still Valiant showing so much signs of strength, even when they're down after just bashed in that first round by Haxel's Dragon Blades. Still, they come back with an even faster time, and although it doesn't go their way in the overtime round, you have to be impressed by that from a new squad, that they're able to have the mental resilience to come back after a tough round.
And again, for the Valiant, this is a team that we've said repeatedly, they're developing. They have a bunch of new players with potential. The fact that they've been able to have moments where they have been looking better than the Titans at points in the series is phenomenal. So even if they lose a series, they might be able to see it as a mark of pride.
Definitely. I don't think that if you're a Los Angeles Valiant fan, you have to be worried. And honestly, I still believe that this series could go the distance. The tough question will be, do the Valiant have an answer to the Titans' Reaper play? I mean, it's been that Reaper that's really been the thorn in their side, especially the first map. Those set engages on choke points. Titans are so expert at that. They've practiced this meta. It's what they were basically very similar to what they were playing last season, and it worked so well for them then.
Well, speaking of Reaper play, Somin2 coming in for Stitch, and you talked a little bit during the break while we were waiting for things to start back up that we're going to Temple of Anubis. And Temple of Anubis, a map where closed in play can be very, very powerful. So this swap makes all the sense in the world.
Definitely. I don't expect the Titans to switch off Reaper at all, but if they need to, I mean, obviously Somin2 does have the depth, but I think that's what they want to force going into this next map. That Reaper May can be devastating. Even some small potential to bring out the Doomfist, I think, on this map.
I think when you look at the Valiant here, is part of their victory perhaps in having a better first point hold where things are a little bit more long range?
For me, I mean, KSP has just been a total superstar. I mean, everyone of the Valiant have been having good games. KSF with the walls as well, but it's been KSP coming back from fights that just look completely unwinnable. How about that one fight capping first on Blizzard World? I thought that was just completely done. I think the Titans had 3 kills at least, but KSP just strikes back with 2 in a row. I mean, that's what you're hoping for out of your hitscan player, but not many can deliver.
It's rare for something like that to surprise us. We're going, okay, the fight's, wait, it's not over, KSP. And even though it was still an overwhelming advantage for the Titans that they ended up taking the fight, they still made the Titans burn resources, which was a heroic final effort, really, coming in from KSP.
Definitely keeping the Valiant in this as we go to the third map. Even if the Titans manage a 3-0, I mean, I'm not complaining if I'm a fan of Los Angeles Valiant. They're putting the runner-up from last year very, very, very close to the edge.
Well, as we said, the next map, it's going to be Temple of Anubis, and it is the final opportunity for the Valiant to turn the series around. That's right, we are in reverse sweep territory now.
We'll see if they're able to achieve the first reverse sweep of the season, and if anyone can do it, I mean, it might be the Los Angeles Valiant. They've shown the mental resilience and had so many bright moments, even in losing maps.
This is a team that has very high highs right now, but they have to do something to improve their consistency, smooth out some of the lows. I still think if you're a fan of the Valiant, you're very excited by what you've seen here today.
I am very excited by what we see here today. This is some Soldier 76 on the high ground, absolutely loving it. Rain as well on the Brigida, potentially looking to shut down Haxel's Genji preemptively. This comp is totally crazy from the LA Valiant, but it makes sense to me. You've got the Brig to potentially counter some Genji action, and the Soldier just delivering the DPS from range.
I always love Soldier. What's one of his key abilities? Oh, he can use his legs to run. Fantastic.
The legs man indeed coming in huge. We'll see if KSF can make it work here, but Haxel's Dragon Blade could be a real thorn in his side if he's trying to play the high ground. So far, McGravy trading very well on the flank, though.
For the Valiant, if you're going to be running a Soldier, you need to be winning the poke battle. That is something that Soldier is incredible at. Also, pretty good at sustain to an extent, so Haxel might dive on him, but the biofield he can put down, pretty decent. Somin2 heading in on the flank, the Titans biding their time. A little bit of sneakiness here, but they're waiting a bit.
Somin2 setting up as the hands or hammer, and Fissure wants to be that anvil, diving in deep. This backline is just completely running for the Valiant, and they're losing tanks on point. Titans starting to take control of the map, and Haxel and Twilight very close to the Nanoblade.
McGravy getting isolated is quite bad. When you're running Soldier 76, you need room to work with. The Titans just getting one pick off after the other. It's not even a full team fight. It's just one pick followed, and that's gonna be the Titans with a very quick point A.
I'm sad, ZP.
Yeah.
I wanted the Soldier to work so badly.
He's about to swap. Look at it. Here he is, going. Is it gone? Whoa, what?
Keeping it, thinking.
Now it's gone.
Ah, well, it was nice knowing you, Captain Jack. We'll see you next patch.
I feel like he waited there just to spite us, ruin our timing.
Challenge here, though, is Nanoblade is ready, and Haxel has had no failures so far on that one. So, besides KSF's Blizzard, to be fair, on Blizzard World, he's got it again. Can he make it happen a second time?
Fissure moving in, gets stuck with the bio nade, mid-pro right, actually getting focused down quite a bit. Meanwhile, Hoxel to the back. Dragon Blade moving over. KSP deals with John, who Hoxel having to play around the Blizzard, about to get frozen out and taken down. KSP making good use of the room provided.
KSP staying in the back line. The flashbang shuts down Haxel, and now he's just picking away at these Titans players, staying at range, takes the bio nade, but I don't think there's any follow-up here.
Well, they have the bomb making room on the point. The Titans. Oh, Sumitsu got to the back. Oh, the Valiant respawns were coming in, and Sumitsu just knocked them all down. That's it.
All right, that's a complete caster's curse from me. Sorry, LA Valiant. The follow-up was there. Death Blossom sound barrier just running through them in the dark room. Nowhere to run at that range.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever gave you a briefing that you need to be responsible with that power.
Well, that's a really fast time for the Titans. I mean, Valiant, we saw them recover from a blistering offense on the last map, but that was even worse, I feel. I mean, just absolutely nothing to be happy about for the LA Valiant. A couple of those fights started to look okay, but just not enough. Titans slamming it home.
Well, we are going to take a look at what just happened there, how the Reaper got to the back line. And here the Valiant were about to recover, where, okay, the bio nade was done, respawns are back in, and he just walks forward and presses Q. That's it.
I mean, sound barrier just keeps him up, and everyone is still so low there for the backline of the LA Valiant. This Reaper Genji dive is a formulation we haven't seen in past metas, but really working out now with that quick Reaper TP. He's able to assist the Genji get on the backline in a way that just wasn't possible before.
The Valiant, they are on their final life. Can they rally? Find out after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor.
That is a huge kill for the Philadelphia Fusion of everybody to go down. And Carpe with the headshot. Carpe with the follow-up. Finally getting to show some skill here. That's what it's all about.
Last chance, the Philadelphia Fusion are hosting the Battle of Brotherly Love next weekend. Tickets are going fast. Don't miss your chance to see EQO, Carpe, and the rest of the Fusion up close and in person. Of course, Jake, a lot to be looking forward to next weekend. Really, just every weekend here in the Overwatch League.
So many exciting matches come up. The offseason was way too long for my taste. I want more Overwatch action, and I want it now. Luckily, my thirst finally about to be slaked.
That's a good word there, slaked.
Classic.
Not something you hear very often, I will say. Well, speaking of slaking, and it's not even really the right use of the word, we're going to be looking at the Valiant as they try and get back into action here after what can only be described as a roll from the Titans just a round to go.
Not much you can slake besides your thirst, unfortunately, ZP, at least in common parlance. But hopefully the Valiant can find some taste for blood here as they go into that next round. So far, I mean, Titans not dropping many in that offense. 440 time bank. That's an impressive setup. Question is, can the Valiant repeat? I mean, I think that's almost impossible to repeat. But to be fair, I said that after the first round of Blizzard World, so don't count Los Angeles out yet.
Maybe that's the way to get record-breaking times out of the Valiant. You just have to really dominate them when they're on defense, and they'll show you an offense you never expected. But you take a look at the offense, it's not going to be a Doomfist, it's going to be a McCree May.
McCree, KSP has had a lot of success on this hero, but if we remember back to Li Jiang, it was Somansu's Reaper just diving in with the rest of his squad, getting so much value before. The question is, where can he find the space? This is such an enclosed environment where Reaper should dominate.
The Vancouver Titans are just going to look to take the fight up close and personal. Fissure getting frozen early, forcing out the Immortality field, and the Valiant just roll forward. They deal with Fissure, but they lose KSP, so they're up in tanks, but they're down that very important DPS piece. Now they need to get a little bit more to buy time for KSP to get back into the fray. The Valiant chasing down the Titans right now. The Titans just trying to get away, trying to wait for respawns. The Titans want no more part of this fight, and they're trying to summon KSP back into the fray.
Spawn advantage playing in importantly here for the LA Valiant as they have high ground control and just cleaning up these frags. This should be a quick point A for the Valiant. That's what they needed to be able to match Vancouver's time.
So the Valiant starting out strong. Really, offense being favored here today, I'd say.
There is a lot of potential to still rush on this second point, and Twilight, he does have that amplification matrix, so potentially coming in for both teams to have that devastating double damage fire strike. We've seen that cleave through entire teams before, but will it happen again?
The Valiant moving forward right now. They got the amp matrix in tow. Titans much the same. Not really wasting a lot of time here. Gonna move forward, trying to focus down Janu. Janu, they're focused. Valiant moving in, they drop the beat. They roll on forward. Immortality field forced out the Titans. The Titans, though, dropping a beat of their own. Hoxel holding on to Blizzard Base, frozen the other side. The Shatter comes in, but Gravy on a bit of a follow-through. The Valiant still trying to make this happen, but they lost KSP.
Jano gets one, drops the self-destruct, gonna be back into the suit. This is a scrappy fight, but that will favor the defenders on Assault. Although another frag going the way of the LA Valiant. Already Fissure onto the Hammond, into delay mode here, but again, so close to that defender spawn, playing to the Titans' advantage.
It's turning into a trade-out battle, which is very, very good for the Titans. KSF trying to keep it going. KSP back into the fray, has dealt with Twilight, and KSP so dangerous in these moments. These cleanup battles is where we've seen him just go to town, but he's down KSF, and the Valiant, they might be looking to reset this a bit, but Blizzard ends up doing nothing for the Titans.
Well, it does buy them a ton of time, forces Gig to be alone on point, so I think it ends up working out for Haxel, not getting a freeze, but an actual true instance of a zoning ult, getting a lot of value there, securing that team fight victory. It started to look a little grim for the Titans. Fissure with 80% on this minefield, might elect to keep it. No, gonna switch back over to the Rhine, needs that shield to protect his team from the Gravy self-destruct.
I think when you look at the ult battle, that was a decent exchange for the Valiant. As they go in here, they have some tools to work with.
Soundberry available, but Slime with his own almost ready. Somansu thinking about committing, but doesn't want to go too early, just trying to poke Valiant on their rotation, get some cooldowns out of them, but they will be able to make it into the dark room essentially for free.
Somansu can be rotating back on over, realizing the drop down isn't about to be in play. Valiant taking a little bit of time here. Deadeye out early. KSP, is there anything in his sights right now? No, not quite. Beat used by the Titans. The Titans move in. Mortality field dealt with. KSP holding back. Last row caught by Fissure. Hello! Moves into the corridor, and that's fine for the Titans. They lose a few people, but defender's advantage.
In a small room with Fissure, that's not where you want to find yourself as he gets a triple kill to clean up that fight. That's great movement from the Titans, just whittling this time bank down. If they can just drop this time bank to 0, I mean, they've set themselves up with a very easy victory condition. So Valiant only have a couple tries left to win this fight with extra time.
3 minutes left, it's not a whole lot, and of course, to state the obvious, the Titans have a far bigger advantage even if they lose this next fight.
Gonna make the switch over to that Reaper Doomfist composition. I like the idea here, trying to find some quick pickoffs, potentially blow this wide open. Aggression coming in hot and heavy for the LA Valiant.
Valiant trying to make up for lost time, moving in, trying to set up Gig, who's holding on to Shatter. The Titans are working with way more tools. Gig on the way in, Fissure on the other side, looking directly at him, drops a Shatter to the side, but so does Gig. Many on the ground, KSF though, in on the cleanup, KSP right there. The Valiant looking for a little bit more, but the Titans return fire, a Blizzard and self-destruct of their own, and all they need to do is keep this even, and that's what they're doing.
the Titans, they don't need to dominate these fights. All they need to do is trade evenly, and that's exactly what they're doing here on 2CP. That's textbook Anubis gameplay. Valiant, they need to get something going, getting a real advantage. And Somazu, even a nice little delay on Delastro. You don't want to stand still when you want the enemy to take you out. It makes it a little too obvious.
It's like, please, send me back to spawn. No, sir, I don't think I will.
I'll just wait here and stare at you for 5 seconds. How does that feel? Even
Doesn't
worse.
feel very good.
Even worse than dying.
So 2 minutes left here for the Valiant, and it's starting to get grim. The Titans using a bit in the last fight, but still tools to work with as we move in. Hoxel opening up with the punch. The Valiant early beat, using it to move in. They get Fissure, so that isolation is good. Now the Valiant working with some momentum. Titans down 3 members. This is what you want to see if you're the Valiant. Starting to get more on their side. Hoxel can't get anything, and the Valiant might be in position to finish with time remaining.
So far, it's all Valiant in the kill feed. This is what they were hoping for. Finally, a clean fight. And with everyone still alive, Death Blossom and Meteor Strike available, this is almost certainly going to be a map finish. Somatsu comes out with a Death Blossom, but Zone still finds Rain, though.
It got Rain, but the worst of it, mitigated by McGravy. They just need to finish off the last few. The Titans now playing for stall or a miracle, whichever comes first. KSF looking to finish it off, diving over. It's a Valiant working with an advantage, but they need to get more. Hoxel meanwhile back in, finds KSF. The Titans now on the verge of turning this back around. Many of the Titans back into play. The Valiant giving up some ground, and this is looking better for the Titans, but they still need more.
Forced to switch on to these fast characters, that gives them a little bit less fighting power on the point, and that ends up having a high impact here. McGravy just running rampant on the map, getting more and more kills. KSF will be back very soon. Minefield's out, but everyone on the Valiant is dodging it, but the clock running awfully low here.
This is really good stall. The Valiant, though, back up to 6. Self-destruct from McGravy. Up, over, doesn't connect on anyone. Meanwhile, the Titans still streaming out one by one, burning the clock. And if they could burn for another 25 seconds, that is all they would need. The Valiant fighting across the clock. Can they get all of the Titans off the point? We're down to 17 seconds, and they do.
Oh, just barely not able to make it to point is Jana with the self-destruct. Titans awfully close to getting overtime, but Valiant, they keep themselves alive in this map. It is possible for them to get the win, but this is still a massive time bank advantage in favor of the Titans.
Massive, almost be underselling it. But what can you say about that stall from the Titans? That fight, in many ways, was over about a minute before it was truly over.
I want to know how Haxel managed to take out KSF without KSF being able to get his own Meteor Strike off. I mean, KSF sitting on that for a while, saving it for that tough moment when he's caught alone, but somehow falls before using it, and that kind of leads to some of the uncertainty of that team fight. But luckily, everyone else on the Valiant able to stay alive, able to keep the fight going and get that win. But I mean, that was a 2-minute team fight on Anubis. Kind of a classic of Anubis, but not something we've seen so much since the spawn changes came through.
It's a lot harder to pull off, which very much a testament to the Titans and the team coordination that they possess, because it's very easy for too many people to go out at the same time, everyone to fall all together, and then you just lose the point.
Got to appreciate Fissure on the Hammond as well, doing a great job of contesting the point, but not overplaying his hands, staying alive, sometimes going back to spawn, sometimes picking up health packs, just eking out his resources over time, not falling early, and that enables him to get the minefield, which keeps buying more and more time. But the question is, what can Valiant do with just 1 minute on the clock on the attack?
Well, they have to do everything right. That's the end of the answer to that question. But right now, looks like they're going to be changing it up. They're going to be throwing KSP onto the Reaper, something that he hasn't really liked to be on this series.
I love to see this. They need this in these close-range engagements. Last time, Somatsu took him out very quickly. Valiant still winning that fight, so with KSP on the Reaper, maybe it'll be different. That looks like a deadly choke point. Takes waiting on either side.
Oh, and KSP locked out to start things off. But the counter wall in, the Immortality Field going to keep Gig alive. Mortality Field goes down, the Titans look to move in. John, though, might have gotten a little bit deep, gets demeched for his troubles. The Valiant go, ooh, Rain, unable to get away. The Titans keeping the pressure up the choke, but Fissure pays the price. The Titans are on defense here. They can't trade out too much, or the advantage will go against them. Hoxel dropping the left flick into the corner. Sumitsu there on the follow-through, and the Titans, looks like they've cleaned that fight up, and now it's 10 seconds. Can the Valiant even get back?
Someone's going to have to rush in and touch the point. Looks like it will be Gig on the Hammond, but this should look shaping up to be a true 1v6 on the point. Not what you're hoping for if you're the Los Angeles Valiant. This looks to be open and shut for the Titans.
Gig taken down, and they can't keep the delay going. Now, this is a tough spot for the Valiant.
No problem, ZP. Just survive 7 Haxel Nanoblades. Like, yeah, like that's easy.
No problem, right? So, to break down where we're at, the Valiant are not done yet in the series, but only in a technicality. Going into this next round, they're going to have to hold perfectly on point A for about 5.5 minutes. I don't know if that would be a record in the Overwatch League, but it'd certainly be top 5.
It's a true tough test of any team. The mental fortitude that it would take to make this hold, for me, would cement Valiant as one of the strongest teams this season if they can just win this map, much less come back in this series. Haxel, I mean, how many Dragon Blades have gone wrong for him? 1 against a Blizzard? That's it. I mean, this guy is a monster, and you're going to give him 2 to 3 chances at the absolute minimum to slice and dice on the LA Valiant. Nothing less than perfection is demanded from Los Angeles.
And I think the saddest part here for the Valiant is that even if they're able to just have the fairy tale hold, if they're able to bring this back, they don't win the map, they get a draw.
They have to win 3 more maps after this, so backs against the wall is the understatement of the year here. KSP on the Reaper. I mean, I like the decision from the Valiant. You have to play a comp that functions against basically everything because Titans has time to throw everything at you.
They can swap their entire lineup a good 4 times and still have plenty of time to try and get onto the point. Valiant, what's it going to be? Do you lose the series or do you show us perfection? Let's find out.
McGravy absolutely fearless on the flank, taking the 1v2 for that. It's a great movement by Haxel, controlling the Mega Pack, able to continue farming this ult, and this is already getting scrappy, but someone's going to have to defend the point pretty soon.
He got caught by the sleep, woken on up. The Titans, meanwhile, use the opportunity to go to the point. Remember, they only need to get 1 tick. The Valiant have to move in now, and they can't lose anyone in the process. Slime down, KSP. That's 1 part. The Valiant taking up residence on the point, forcing the Titans back. And we'll see if they can get the DMAC on John. No, it's the other way around. McGravy gets DMAC'd, and things are getting tense here for the Valiant as they try to hold.
Even with the pick, this is just textbook dive from the Titans, poking, not committing. The Valiant, they're going to have to make a move soon. Haxel charging towards that Nano Blade, already at 90, and his counterpart, of course, Twilight is ready.
Well, Doom is going to be on the way, and I don't mean Doomfist. Here comes the Nano, and here comes Haxel, the Blade out! Is this going to be a finisher? KSP is down. Haxel looking for more, sees Gig in the sights. Blade not doing a whole lot, but the rest of the Titans making well use of the distraction. The Valiant falling 1 by 1, and it's going to be the Titans completing a clean sweep of the Valiant here in Dallas.
Beautiful stuff from the Titans, making it look easy here on Temple of Anubis.
It was a tough task of the Valiant to ask them to hold for 5.5 minutes there, but it's only a testament to just how incredibly strong the Titans were in the series, particularly on attack.
Yeah, small shout out to Rain there, able to dodge the Nano Blade, but it's just not enough. You know, you start focusing too much on Haxel with the Nano Blade, you forget that this roster is absolutely packed with stars. Any one of them can sweep your team, and they absolutely do it there.
I think right now, if you're analyzing the Overwatch League, you're wondering who's strong, who's weak. You have to look at the Titans and go, well, last year, it wasn't a fluke. They are still here for real.
Yeah, and if anything, you know, this might be prices the stocks up for the LA Gladiators, bringing the Titans toe-to-toe, and Titans now showing what a formidable opponent that they are.
And we talked about it earlier in the series, but it's this idea of control, where the Titans, with the exception of a Blizzard World defense, they never really looked just frustrated at all over the course of the game. They had an answer for everything. They had great swaps, good engagements. It was just rare that the Valiant was getting the better of them consistently.
I think the strategic element of the game when it comes down to those hero swaps was definitely playing in the Titans' favor. Not only are they able to unlock the potential of the Genji so comfortably and confidently with a superstar like Haxel, one of our role stars here in Dallas, but also when it comes down to a Reaper rush comp, they're great at executing that as well. They can really pick and choose from any strategic set that they're hoping to use.
Well, to give us a little bit more insight into the Titans and perhaps why we should fear them this year, we got Sideshow with Fissure down on the floor.
Thank you very much, CP. Yep, I'm joined down here with Fissure, the brand new main tank for the Vancouver Titans. Fissure, the first thing I want to ask you is, you've played on more OWL teams, more Overwatch League teams than any other player. How are you settling into the Titans?
이제 피셔 선수는 오버워치 있는 모든 선수들 중에 가장 많은 팀을 옮겨 다니셨는데 지금 같이 하고 있는 밴쿠버랑은 잘 적응하고 계신가요?
현재 밴쿠버 타이탄즈에서 굉장히 잘 적응하고 있고 제가 많은 팀을 이제 옮겨다 보니까 어떤 팀의 팀 성향이 어떤지 좀 보고 있는데 이 팀은 되게 좀 어린애들이 장난처럼 플레이하는 재밌는 팀입니다.
It's been really good with Vancouver Titans so far, and since I've been to a lot of different teams, I look how teams like their play style and how they play with each other in general. And so far, Vancouver seems to be those kind of childish and mischief team where everyone's very, very playful. Yeah.
The Titans made it to the grand finals last year, but they just fell short. So what is your team and yourself going to do to ensure that you make it all the way this time?
밴쿠버 타이탄즈는 저번 시즌에 아쉽게 그랜드 파이널까지 갔지만 준우승에 그쳤는데 이번 시즌에 우승하기 위해서 특별히 하는 거나 좀 다른 마음가짐이 있나요?